I'm a senior lecturer and also the program director for the Master of Design. I'm a career academic with over 30 years of full-time experience as a design educator at 5 different institutions, 2 in the United States and 3 in New Zealand. I've co-directed research labs and I specialise in strategic design and design thinking. My current research is on cognition and design thinking, with the focus on the resources that expert designers accumulate over a lifetime of practice and problem solving. For today's webinar, I am joined by 2 students from the program, Nanek and Nabil. Welcome. Would you please introduce yourselves?
Definitely. Thank you, Aaron. I'm Nabil. So I did my Masters of Design about 2 years ago, finished graduating in 2023. I'm currently a third-year medical student.
Congratulations.
At the University of Auckland.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to give back and share my experience in the design program.
Okay, thank you. And Nanak.
Yeah, thanks for having me over, Aaron. And I'm Nanak, and I recently submitted my thesis under Masters of Design, and I'm waiting for my result as we speak right now, and it has been a great experience here, and yeah, that's me.
It's a long journey, that one, right?
It has been a long journey.
Congratulations on completing.
Thank you so much.
So during today's webinar, we'll share some key information about the Master of Design degree. Then we'll hear back from Nanak and Nabil about their experiences of the program. And finally, we'll answer questions that you have submitted. You can submit your questions anytime throughout the webinar via the Slido link in the description section of this live stream. If you have more questions after the webinar, please contact us via the Ask Auckland link, which is also in the description. Now we'll jump into some key information you'll need to know. First question up really is, what is design in the year 2025? I mean, phew, this is a big one, right?
Yeah,
what is design, and what is design now?
Yeah, it's a huge question.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think design's all about working through what you're unsure about, working through a problem that's very chaotic. And I think now, especially in the world we're living in, the world is transforming at an accelerating pace. And so I think design is the ability to be adaptable in whatever you do in the world we're living in today. It gives you the toolkit to excel at whatever you choose to influence. Yeah.
And coming back to this idea of kind of acceleration and complexity, the degree of complexity of today's problems is significant, right? So this requires complex responses.
Definitely.
As well. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Nabil, Nanak, do you have a response?
Definitely, Aaron.
Yeah.
I think coming from India, I worked there as an associate designer in a consulting firm. And I feel still many people perceive that design as a role is something that we do in back end, and many people feel it's just something that we need to focus on building something aesthetic or making something look good. But that's not the case. Design plays a very vital role. It's a conversation that we need to have with services, policies, and it goes to healthcare, and that's what I did my thesis in, as you know. And
I do.
And with coming in of artificial intelligence, I feel designers play like a core responsibility in making it more ethical and how people perceive it, and that's a key role that design can play in today's generation, which is so exposed to, I would say, the threats of AI, or maybe you can say like how globally we can perceive this industry as.
Right. Yes, I like that response very much, this idea of kind of a more holistic understanding of design. And instead of seeing design as a very finite part of a process, right, a larger process, it's actually the design of the entire end-to-end kind of experience.
Definitely.
Yeah. So this brings me back to my kind of definition of design in the 21st century, 21st century and 2025 specifically, but also, or now, also brings me back to the idea of what our program is and what it does. And I think the design of our program, the way that the Master of Design is what the university calls a non-cognate degree, that requires, or that admits non-specialists into the program and has a very kind of transdisciplinary view of what people can do in the program. I think this really situates us well in the present, thinking with one eye on this kind of complexity and holistic kind of nature of design, where design's at now. So, okay, next question. What's the purpose of this master's program? Who does it suit? And why is it important or unique? I think I've already answered a little bit of that question, that we have this program that's very much set up for non-specialists, but this could also be an opportunity for you guys to talk about your experience.
Definitely.
As individuals coming into the program and what this meant for you.
Yeah, I can kick it off if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. So I think this degree is perfect for anyone that wants to maybe broaden their worldview. I think that's the most important thing, because we may, wherever you're coming from your undergraduate degree, you're usually trained in a very traditional discipline. I think the MDiz allows you, especially since you're collaborating with people from different backgrounds and working on problems you may have not encountered before, you will have to learn new skills and ways of thinking, which, at least for me, I think has served me very well on an abstract level, because even if you're not directly working on what you learned in your master's, I think the change that it cultivates within you is something that lasts much longer. And I think that's very important. Yeah.
I think I completely agree with what Nabil is saying, because when I was looking for opportunities or different courses abroad for my study, what actually lured me towards this Master of Design program at the University of Auckland was how broadened the subjects sounded. They were not rigid, they were not specified into the categories of textiles or fashion that globally are, which we associate design to.
Yes.
They felt very future oriented. And as Nabil said, the collaborative spirit, people from different backgrounds can come here, and that's what I felt in the last couple of months and couple of years that I've been here studying, that I've met engineers, I've met people from different backgrounds, and the kind of opportunity the course provides, where you can mold your own study, you can mold your own subjects, and how you can put a designer lens to it.
Yes, and the design lens is interesting, right? Because Nabil, I recall when you came into the program, you had come from a neuroscience background. And this is a very typical profile in our program, that we may have students from neuroscience, computer science, psychology, engineering, etc., all in this space working together, as you say, Nanak. So thank you. I think this is a real point of difference for what we do also. The design program at the University of Auckland is distributed in and around the Faculty of Engineering, now called Engineering and Design, on the main Simon Street campus in central Auckland. It has an adjacent space next to the School of Fine Arts in Grafton Gully currently, and we are very well located within a short walk to all facilities and faculties on the main campus. The Master of Design space is a really welcoming, in my estimation, I think it's a welcoming teach work environment and sort of a home base for the program. I often see students there working after hours on things together. This facility is located between the engineering and architecture buildings on the main campus. The full-time MDes is completed typically over 3 semesters or 18 months. If taken part-time, the program normally takes 3 years. Coursework would require at least 2 days on campus. As the program director, I can provide a part-time navigation model for those interested, and we have had students navigate the course part-time. There are 2 streams in the Master of Design program, both taught and research. Both streams are identical. In semester 1, the experience is common. The majority of students take our taught master's stream. After semester 1, students will take 3 electives and then a capstone preparation course. In semester 3, they also undertake a self-directed project with a defined thematic and in the company of a study group with a little more structured delivery given. The work culminates in a capstone project with a substantial design practice component and with feedback from external stakeholders. It's externally moderated rather than externally examined. Distinction is that in the research stream, students take 2 rather than 3 electives. The research MDes is 90 points of study, or half of the total length of the program. This is 1.5 semesters. The work culminates in a thesis of approximately, or at least a target of 18,000 words. I know, looking at you, Nanak, you went up to 30,000 words,
Yes.
which is the maximum. As with all of our projects, our MDes thesis is individually supervised and externally examined. Entry GPE, or grade point equivalent, is 5.0 in a 9 scale grading model, and this is a B average across your previous courses. If it is within a referral range of 4 to 5, it would be evaluated internally, and your written statement and CV would be considered in this evaluation. English as a second language students will need to know the following details. Under IELTS, an overall score of 6.5 and no bands below 6 are required. For TOEFL, you will need an overall score of 90 and a writing score of 21. And for Cambridge, an overall score of 176 and no bands below 169. In the Master's program, you will learn research methods and their application to design, critical thinking, argumentative, rhetorical and presentation skills. You'll also learn how to connect making and prototyping with theory and research in a sustained project, such as a thesis or a capstone. If you're a non-design student, you'll gain ability to add a design lens, as we've already mentioned, knowledge of the field and perspective to complement what you already know. And if you're a design student, you'll add more conceptual rigor and complexity to the types of problem spaces you will be engaging with. Students from all backgrounds are welcome in the program. It was designed for a mix of students from design and non-design backgrounds, and many of our non-design students perform better in the program than those with a design background. There's no rule to this, but we have some very successful students from both backgrounds, but design background is not a predictor for success in the program. We are very coursework based, with classes like research methods, design practices, design technologies for prototyping, design impacts, design futures, and design innovation. Then you may pursue individual research or work on your capstone project with some connection with an external partner or organisation. The program has a makerspace equipped with VR and AR equipment, all kinds of 3D printing facilities for clay, water cutters and laser cutters, as well as equipment for working with electronic circuit boards. So where can this program take graduates? I'm going to throw this question back to you two.
Yeah.
Because you are now at medical school,
yeah, which
so
is
it's taken you in a different direction.
Definitely.
You've gone, let's say, non-design, design, non-design.
Yeah.
And how's that working? Can you describe that journey?
Yeah, I mean, it was a crazy journey, definitely an adventure. And I think, like we're saying, design equips you to live and operate in a very chaotic world.
Yeah.
And my choices have been pretty chaotic. And I think the toolkit that it's given me has allowed me to stay adaptable and to always find a way to do well in whatever situation I'm in. You know, I think when I was finishing my MDes, I had a lot of opportunities. I could have went into, I do think I was a capable student, and I think the Masters, if you really try, you'll be able to really go wherever your hat takes you. I could have went into a design consultancy, I could have worked at a design agency, I could have, I had opportunities to even, work at startups.
Yeah.
But my heart was wanting to go back to medicine. And even then, I do think the things I learned in the program are helping me even today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that was a dream of yours
Yeah.
during the program. And it's interesting that you talk about chaotic. You know, I think about this idea of retrospective coherence. Things become more in focus as you look back on them. Some of those choices may seem more intentional later on than they do to you right now. But it's an interesting journey. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
And could you talk to that question
Of course.
NANAC?
So, like you said, the course is meant for people from different backgrounds. And personally, me, I come from a design background, and I've been working in branding and visuals and graphics after my undergrad.
Yeah.
But coming here, what I realized, design also gives you this tool of becoming a problem solver. And I think that's what Masters of Design has equipped me with.
It's a broader.
It is a broader thing, and I always wanted to get that career shift of becoming more strategy focused, more into consultancy. And I think that's what these subjects and whatever I've learned here has equipped me with. Now I'm looking for opportunities, and there are a plethora of opportunities available out there, and I'm applying with great confidence into roles like, as I said, service design, policy design, and these are new design fields that are coming up in the industry.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
do you feel like, from that perspective, the program has kind of helped you, in a sense, climb the
most
ladder
definitely
into a much broader array of options?
Of course, I won't deny that, because it has given me those, I would say, the skills to do research. That has been a very, I think, one of the, the major component, making me more toward going back to those books and, going, rather than just focusing on creating something that's beautiful. It's taken me more towards the theoretical side, but also given me more like the studio tools to explore with, and to create that balance of theory with in-studio experience. So I think that's what
theory
really
and practice kind of integrated. Yeah,
all together.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Fascinating responses, and really nice to hear, to some extent, with a new program, relatively new, how a lot of the kind of vision for, I think, how we wanted the design degree to work seems to have worked for you too. So, okay, so let's go into some questions that you have sent through. There seems to be a technical problem here with Slido. We might just pause and wait till that comes online.
Yeah. Is there any other questions?
Well, I guess we could keep talking, can't we, while we're waiting for
definitely.
this. So we might need to ad-lib a few questions while we wait for the other ones to come in. Yeah, could you talk about your sort of your next steps in terms of what you're doing? Maybe elaborate on where you were at NANAC with some of the things that you're applying for and looking at, because they sound really interesting.
Prior to coming to New Zealand, I was working with a consultancy firm called BCG, and they have reached out back to me with an offer, and I'm just waiting for things to roll out.
Congrats on that. That's great.
Thank you so much. So and it's different in a field. Now I don't work as a designer there, but they have asked me to work as more of an associate. So you see the kind of shift that has this master design has brought is now I'm not just like succumb to that small area of where you have to just take probably a brief and design something and that's done. Now I'm in the team, in the front face, talking to the stakeholders, and because they know what kind of knowledge this course imparts.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
You're a true, you actually have a voice, a strong voice now.
Yep.
You're not making reports look pretty, but you're actually deciding what goes into
the report. Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. Okay, I think Slido's come back online. Awesome. So we'll just take it from the top with the questions. The first one is that I don't have an undergraduate degree in design or a formal design background. What will I need to do to prepare for the Masters? This is a pretty good question, right?
Yeah.
And I think it might be good to, again, start with you, because you have the on-the-ground experience of applying to the program coming into it.
Yep.
What would you advise somebody who is considering this, doesn't have a design background, and wants to know how they get themselves ready for this program?
Is it all good if I take it off?
Of course, please.
Yeah, so, to the person that's asking, I did not do an undergraduate degree in design. I didn't even do design in high school. But I did enjoy art and design in my free time.
Yes.
But I don't think it was a limiting...
You're a photographer, right?
Yeah, so photography is what I was into before applying to design. But I think, as long as you have an open mind and you're willing to learn, you'll be able to learn during the program.
Yeah.
But so you shouldn't really have that as a limitation, because skills can. I think the best way to learn skills are when you actually have a problem, and then you have to learn to solve the problem. When you apply yourself in that way, learning is so much faster. Yeah.
So you're not learning a bunch of abstract knowledge, you're actually confronted with a problem
Yeah.
you need to work through. Yeah.
Like Figma, for example. So when I was doing my master's, I had to create like a mobile app. So rather than abstractly learning UX UI design, I had to learn it in a very tangible way.
Right.
And I think I learned a lot in a very fast period.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, Nanak.
I think speaking from my peers that I've seen who are not from the design background, the kind of ideas they bring on the table, which is not designer centric, is something which I think resonates with the real world problems. They bring that fresh perspective. They bring like, hey, but this can be done this way as well, because this is something I did in my engineering, and that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And you know, it's kind of that collaborative spirit that the course has. And if you're applying and if you don't have a designer background, I think it's just the ideas that you share. Maybe you can just write an essay and say, I would like to approach it in this way.
Yeah.
Or maybe just you can say, this is something I don't enjoy, and as a designer I would like to change that.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
I think that could help to get that vision.
A lot of that motivation for wanting to be a designer or do
Yes.
design is noticing things that don't work, right?
Exactly.
Like, you know, you're on the phone to that customer service person and you're putting on hold and bounced around, and you
Yeah.
start thinking from a service design perspective, how is this working? Not well, right?
Exactly.
And there are so many things in life like that. So you would suggest that maybe an applicant really thinks about how design or a
Yes.
consciousness of design works for them in their lives?
Exactly. How they can leverage this course and this subject and probably just fill in the gap that they are facing in their life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this was almost my response to that question, actually, which was, you know, having a strong motivation for why you would want to take a design degree, rather than necessarily feeling like you're coming to the table with a full portfolio of skills.
Yes.
Because these things, as we've mentioned, can be learned along the way, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So this is actually, well, the third question. We'll go to the second one. Do I need to decide on a master's research topic or know what aspect of design to focus on at the start of the degree? Now, I'm just going to do a one-word answer to that, and that's no. But do you have any more
I feel
to
like
add to
Nana
that?
could be perfect to talk.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I've just completed a master design with the research pathway, and I think I was not very sure what I needed to do. And during the coursework, all the faculty members were really supportive, including
Yeah.
you, Aaron. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
And we came up with the topic, which was unique for everyone.
It was a very interesting topic
Yes.
about medical tourism.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what surprised me, there were no two topics that were overlapping for anyone, and the kind of support all the faculty provide to their each group and what the supervisor did was phenomenal, I feel.
Yeah.
And we were able to finish it on time, which was great.
Yes, yes. No, we all hope that we can finish on time, don't we? And you
Yes.
did. Yes, so wonderful. So, you know, my short answer to that question was no, but really the idea is that you feel your way into a topic through that research process, right? And you sort of start to kind of discover what you're interested in, and then bounce that around with a group, discuss it with other people, do a little bit of a dive into the research, and start to kind of develop or bootstrap an idea together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have to have that kind of certainty once you enter the course, because I want to do something very different, and landing onto the topics, say, as abstract as medical tourism, was something that I did while studying and while completing my first semester.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Next question is, do I need to submit a visual portfolio as part of my application? Again, my answer to that is no, but. So no, it's not required, but yes, it can be useful if you're able to produce a visual portfolio, if you have a visual portfolio. There are ways that you can actually integrate a visual portfolio into a CV, for example, through a link or something like that. And it just, the only thing in my view that this does is it gives a larger spectrum view about who you are as an individual, as an applicant to the program. Just gives the program a larger sample of activity to look at.
Yes.
Right? Can you respond to that, or?
I did Summit because...
You did?
Yeah, because as I said, I have come from a designer background, so I thought that would just, build up my case of why I want to do Master of Design and increase my chances of getting into it.
Yeah.
But I don't know about Nabil. What was your thing?
Did I submit? To be honest, I can't remember.
It was a while ago.
It was a while ago, but
Yeah.
I would encourage someone to, because I feel like that just shows your eagerness in wanting to be part of the program.
But I wouldn't let that be an obstacle either.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things about this kind of non-cognate structure of the program is that we're not sort of putting up those kinds of barriers or obstacles.
Yeah.
However, we do want people who are highly motivated to do the study.
Yeah.
Also, I think portfolio is very subjective. You don't need to have all the designerly projects in your portfolio. Maybe you can just put 3-4 case studies about what you have done and how creatively you approached the situation.
Sure.
And what kind of delivery or output you created to
Yes.
show that you have the designer bone in you.
Absolutely. And even the way that you might present your work in
Yes.
portfolio could be quite different these days, right?
Yeah.
With video and other kinds of
Very
media.
subjective. It's very
Sure. Okay, great, thank you. Next question on the slate is, can you go into detail on what some of the past capstone projects have been? Oof. Well, I know that, Nanak, you have an up-close look at this.
Yep.
And I can probably ad-lib on a few that I remember as well,
Sure.
that stand out. Do you want to start?
Of
or?
course. So speaking about
And then, of course, Nabil could talk
Yeah,
about his
sure.
capstone as
Yeah.
well, actually.
So my cohort did a research output. Some of them had a creative portfolio, some of them did like a heavy thesis document, and it was corely divided into food design, placemaking, design activism, and broadly they would, and game design. So a lot of people, like for example, I know people who did a game for people who were, audibly challenged, and how they can use audio in a game to make a game for them. Or there were people, I know one of my peer made an app, so how university students can inculcate healthy eating habits, and there was
right.
and I know that there were few peers of mine who made websites for elderly in workspaces, and caretakers of dementia people, how they were addressing such complex topics.
Yes.
And as for my, I worked how we can make the entire process of medical tourism seamless and more approachable and globally accessible. So these kind of diverse and such complex topics were so interesting to look at.
Yes. No, if we use your medical tourism capstone as a bit of a case to kind of look at this, I recall you were dealing a lot with issues of trust related to medical tourism, etc., right?
Yes.
So, there's a lot of complexity there to be studied. And Nabil, I remember the app that you did.
Yeah.
If you could...
Would you like me to talk about it?
Well, we don't have much time, but maybe very briefly.
Yeah, so very briefly, let's do a quick fire, 30 seconds. So I worked on a platform called Focus to help students and people improve their attention spans and just work better. Produced quite a large casebook, 12 to 15,000 words, did research, met people, created an app, learned 1 billion skills, had the best time of my life.
Yeah, good.
Do the Masters of Design.
Okay, and interesting insight there is, I think you drew from your background in neuroscience as well, in
definitely.
a really productive design lens way.
Yeah.
Okay, so we could chat for a lot longer about all of this, but we've come to the end of our webinar for today. Thank you to the audience for attending and sharing your questions, and thank you to Nanak and Nabil for being great ambassadors for our Master of Design program. We hope this webinar has been informative, and if you have further queries or questions, please refer to our website or contact us through Ask Auckland Online Support Centre via the link in the webinar description box. We look forward to seeing you at Design. Ka kite anō. Thank you.
Sweet.